Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wide Open Adventures. I hope everybody's doing good, and you will never guess what it's doing in Oklahoma right now. We have a thunderstorm hitting us as we speak. You hear the thunder. It seems like that is all it does. Mr. Tyler 420, I see you in the chat. Did you want to hang out with us tonight? Uh, I couldn't get a hold of Amanda and couldn't get a hold of Randy. So if you would like to join us tonight, Tyler, I do have an opening. If you would like to jump on the show, hang out, talk about snakes or whatever, totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and switch the screen real quick as we will be using it to show some photos tonight. There we go. That looks better. I like the little screen better. You're very welcome, Tyler. Just wanted to throw it out there in case you wanted to. All right. It looks like we got Chester Robinson in here tonight. We got Belinda in here tonight. Belinda Kruger. Why do you not have a wrench, Belinda? What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? Let's see if I can do anything about that. Belinda, hold on one second. Working on it. Working on it. The storm is making everything. There. Belinda, there you go. That should have you fixed up, I think. I guess I didn't get everybody added that I tried to add the other night. But Belinda, that should have you fixed up. Hopefully that worked. As you all know, this channel is a channel that is done for Hunter. And we work on this channel to try and make him happy, to try to get it up to where he's going to want it to whenever he comes home. That is one of the main goals of the channel. He loved this channel. It was his idea to start it. Can y'all hear the rain and the wind? We are getting a huge thunderstorm right now. I'm going to go ahead and bring Jesse in just in case y'all lose me. You'll have somebody to talk to. We're getting hammered pretty good right now.
Hello.
Yeah. We're getting a really big storm. So possibility I could go out. Yeah.
I'm going to say, I don't know how well I'll be tonight either because it looks like we're getting hammered too.
Oh, it's bad right now. We got a big wall of rain just hammering us in thunder. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but you may hear it here in a minute.
Yeah, I can't hear it now.
And if anybody has any roof damage from the storms coming in, Larry Fisher can fix you up, guys. Give him a call if you need anything fixed. He can help you work with your insurance companies or anything. There's the thunder. Or anything that you may need done. Just get a hold of Larry. There's his information. You can contact me at any time to get it. Like I said, Larry will take care of you. All right. Well, it looks like it's just going to be us tonight. I could not get a hold of anybody. I guess everybody is busy tonight. So unless somebody happens to get back to me. Yep, nobody. Looks like everybody's busy. They partied too hard last night. All right, there's some thunder.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm hearing it from your end or if I'm hearing it from my end. I'm hearing it.
There's a big flash that time. All right, guys. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about being in the woods and the kinds of snakes you can run across. It's probably mostly going to be in southern Oklahoma area. We have, depending on who you ask, 7 to 8 venomous snakes in our area. Some people call them poisonous snakes, and the game wardens will correct you on that. But like I told Jesse yesterday, poison, venomous, I mean, they're both going to make you sick. They're both going to kill you. You know, one of the things that I worry about. Hello, Carla. Good to see you. I got to throw some names up here real quick. Whenever I go out camping, fishing, we do a lot of nighttime fishing. My mom and I, my family, and we use a lot of, light by fire, and we use lanterns and You're always moving around in the dark, and it's hard to see. And there's a lot of snakes down here where we're at. We usually see just about every species of venomous snake a year. Um, this year, I've already seen two species of venomous snakes here in Oklahoma. I have seen a Masagua rattlesnake, which the cat ate, and I have seen I believe it was a timber rattler that we saw on the road. It was about 6 to 7 foot long. So we've already seen a couple, and then I think me and Mom probably saw a water moccasin yesterday when we went and checked out the water. There was a huge water moccasin going across the water. So there is definitely a lot of creatures out there in the woods that will hurt you, other than the monsters that we go look for on the other channel.
I'm glad you said Masagua because I had to look that up. Like snakes I had in my area, and I couldn't figure out how to pronounce it. But yeah, we have those here too.
Yep, we have the western and the eastern Masagua.
We have Eastern.
And that's actually what the cat ate on that video.
Ugh.
And they're actually one of the worst ones you can be bit by too. They carry the hemotoxin, the neurotoxin, and there's another one called the elliptico, and they can carry all three. And I've got it all wrote down tonight, so we'll go over those as we go into it. And of course, boots on the ground is one of those times where snakes can be a danger, especially in my area when you're moving through grass that you cannot see. And you got trees, you have to worry about neck bites, head bites, upper body bites, because they will strike from the trees as well as from the ground. So that's some of the things you got to watch for. I wear snake boots. I don't know how many people do wear snake boots in the woods. I have some snake boots that go all the way up just below my knees, and they are rated at any snake, any size snake. So they should work for any bite. They're really nice. They're camouflaged, and they're light. They're light made, but they're really hard soled. I really enjoy those. They're really nice boots. My mom actually picked them up for me. But they are guaranteed against all species of snakes and snake bites. We're under a thunderstorm warning right now.
Hope everybody else is doing good tonight. Hello, Don.
We're getting a large hail right now. We're under a warning, so we'll see what happens.
Don says, what boots did you say? Snake bite boots?
Yeah, they're snake boots. That way I don't have to worry about taking a hit on the leg or the foot or anywhere. They're guaranteed against all species, all sizes. They come with 100% guarantee.
100% guarantee. Wow.
Yep, and they break right before where my knee bends. They go right up to your knee, and they are made of Kevlar. And then they have a reinforced liner that is placed inside of the Kevlar.
Wow.
So they've actually been tested on YouTube, and they have stopped even pistol calibers because of the Kevlar.
Wow.
So it's kind of neat.
How heavy are they?
They're not bad. They're 3-4 pounds each. I've got, they're a lot lighter than my steel-toed, and these boots go all the way up underneath my knees, so I'm protected all the way up to my knee. It covers my calf and everything, because I do a lot of stepping over logs and stuff, and a lot of people are bit when stepping over logs. That's one of the most times that people are bit, is when they step over something instead of stepping on top of it, looking, and then stepping down and away from it. But you do get some of them city slickers out there that step right over it, and they take a hit on the back of the leg. And then you're sick for about a week, depending on what bites you. Copperheads, not so bad. Rattlesnakes, really bad. So, I guess we got about everybody in here that's going to show up today. There's little Smurfy in here. There's Michelle McGuire. Michelle just farted on him. That's how she'd get rid of him. Pink Pixie's in here. Dana Affliction's in here. Don Moore, good to see you. Yeah, Don, moccasins are really bad. That's one of the ones I don't like. We have a lot of water moccasins here. Tyler 420's in here. He's in and out tonight. I don't know what he's doing. He's been running back and forth. I'm not sure what Tyler's doing. Tyler, I tried to get a hold of Amanda, and I could not get a hold of her. I tried. I think she's hiding from us. So the first snake we're going to talk about tonight, guys, we're just going to do the most common. There could be 9 in Oklahoma venomous snakes if you count the coral snake. The coral snake has been in Oklahoma, but it is not considered one that you're likely to encounter. But it's still out there. People do encounter it, and people do take bites from it. Like what brand and where to get the boot. Oh, Mom, you know where you got the boots at? She ordered them from Amazon. I don't know the name of them, but I will try to get that for you, Dawn, and get it to you. They're not cheap at all. They're a very expensive boot. It's probably because of the Kevlar.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first snakes we're going to talk about is there are 8 venomous snakes in Oklahoma, possibly 9. Oklahoma altogether has 48 different species of snakes here in Oklahoma. So we have a lot of different snakes. We have, like I said, 8 to 9 venomous snakes here. And most of their toxins that are most looked at in both of the venomous snakes is what you call the hemotoxins, and some of them have neurotoxins. So depending on where you're at, if you're out in the woods, depending on, Amanda was here because she was commenting. She's ducking us. Depends on what you get bit by. Now, hemotoxins, I tried to break this down for you guys. I don't want to put a waiver out before we get into this. I am not a doctor. And I am, if you get bit by a snake, call 911 and do what the authorities tell you to do. I am only giving you information based on what I found, what I studied, and what I've experienced, but I am by no means a professional or a medical professional, and I am not giving medical advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, so hopefully we can all learn something together. Hemotoxins are toxins that destroy your red blood cells. They disrupt blood clotting and cause organ degeneration and generalized tissue damage. The term hemotoxin, to some degree, is a sense of toxins that damage the blood, also damage tissues. Injury from a hemotoxin agent is very painful from the bite. It will be extremely painful and can cause permanent damage in severe cases without treatment, death. Neurotoxins. The neurotoxin venom targets specifically also your red blood cells, as well as the tissues around the area, causes massive hemorrhaging at the bite spot, and it affects the bloodstream and the centralized nervous system. It can shut down your heart, it can stop your breathing, and it can also cause you to bleed from your eyes, mouth, or other orifices. This is one of the most severe toxins that you can be bit by. Some snakes carry both hemotoxins and neurotoxins in their bite. So if you get bit by a certain snake, you could possibly get both toxins in one bite. That would be detrimental, especially if you're in the woods by yourself and you're like I am. You're about an hour from the nearest hospital, and our nearest hospitals do not carry anti-venom. You would have to be airlifted about 50 miles away to probably get your first dose of anti-venom where I'm at. So you're looking at probably an hour and a half to 2 hours before you get your first dose. So you want to be very careful out here not to take a hit by a snake.
Mm-hmm.
With more than 40 snakes living in Oklahoma, there are 7 venomous snakes like we talked about, and they are all considered pit vipers. This means that these snakes have heat-sensing pit organs on their face, between the eyes and the nostrils. These pits almost look like second pair of nostrils. 5 of these pit vipers are rattlesnakes. What type of rattlesnakes live in Oklahoma? What do they look like? Where do they live? Take a look at all of the different kinds. The timber rattlesnake, which is the one we're going to talk about first, and I had a photograph of it, but it will not load it. It says it's a corrupted file, which I have no idea why, but the timber rattlesnake have light brown, golden, tan, or gray base color with dark, jagged, B-shaped bands along the length of their bodies. The very end of the timber rattlesnake's tail is velvety dark gray or black with a light-colored rattle. This feature is why timber rattlesnakes are sometimes called velvet tails, rattlesnakes, or velvet rattlers. Timber rattlesnakes are not always quick to defend themselves. They prefer to stay silent and blend into their environment or escape rather than risk a fight. It can actually be hard to get these snakes to bite or even rattle a warning. Although you should never attempt to do so, these snakes mostly eat small mammals like mice as well as squirrels and chipmunks. They're also surprisingly excellent climbers, scaling trees, and have been found at more than 80 feet above the ground in the canopy of the trees. They will lash out from the limbs at their victims as they pass under them, making them a very dangerous snake in the woods, as that would cause a head, neck, or upper torso strike, which is very hard to get the venom to stay in one location. So that would be a really, 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 really bad bite to take one in the upper torso. It's hard for doctors to, of course, we're not going to go into the first aid right now. That'll be another show. But a lot of the first aid that was developed for snake bites has changed. Even when I went through my first aid training, whenever I got my first responders license, that was one of the things we had to be licensed in. They went from using tourniquets and suction devices, which were found to be of no use and would cause a higher number of amputations in patients, to doing what we called a wrap. And what you would do is you would wrap the arm or the leg, not too tight, but tight enough to slow the spread of the venom. That way you're not constricting the complete blood flow to the limb, which would save the limb, but you're still slowing the venom and then trying to keep the bite, of course, above the heart. That's one of the main things that you want to do, is keep the bite above the heart. Yeah, Logan just walked in with a handful of hell.
Now, what kind of snake was it that crossed the road that day that you guys were out there? That huge one.
That was a timber rattler.
That was a timber?
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, from the ground, he could have bit me probably at my thigh or my stomach. He was very large. The odds of him biting that high are probably not real high. He would probably, even been that large, would probably be a leg strike. They tend to strike at the legs. But some of them have hit people above the boots, even in the rattlesnake hunts we have here in Oklahoma. Southern Oklahoma does, have a large rattlesnake hunt every year, to where they have a rattlesnake cook and everything. One of the biggest misconceptions, it says, it causes, I thought was pretty interesting. 80% of snake bites in Oklahoma that result in a venomous bite are by people that have a false sense of security that water boots and cowboy boots will protect them from bites. Venomous snakes can strike through water boots, leather boots, and cowboy boots. The game wardens of Oklahoma have warned people, if your boots are not snake resistant and listed as such, they can bite through the boot and envenomate you. Sometimes possibly up to 3 to 4 times, because your boot can cause the fangs to become lodged inside of the boot, resulting in multiple bites. So that kind of is scary.
And I have heard that before, the fangs becoming lodged in the leather boots.
There was actually a guy killed like that. A guy ran over a rattlesnake on the highway, took his car to the tire shop to get the tire fixed, and the guy poked himself on the fang on the tire, didn't know what it was when he was changing the tire, and he died.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. And then,
Horrible.
yeah, I hate them things. Dawn, it is. It's very scary. And we have large ones out there where I'm at. And if y'all stay on this channel, you'll probably see a lot of wildlife. Mom was actually talking about the other day, and me and her driving around and just showing you all the wildlife around us. The deer, the bald eagles, the snakes, the turtles. I mean, we have a lot of that around here. The next one we're going to talk about, guys, is the western diamondback, which would be this guy right here. The western diamondback, he can get up to 48 to 72 inches long. That's the average length
Holy cow.
of what they grow to. Like their name, these rattlesnakes have dark diamond patterns along their backs with gray base color underneath. Their tails have very distinctive black and white rings near the rattle, giving them the nickname the coon-tail rattlesnake. This snake, if you are bit by this snake's venom contains hemotoxins, myotoxins, cytotoxins, which cause impaired blood clotting, kidney and organ failure, amputation, and they cause more deaths than any other rattlesnake bite. You don't want to take a hit by that one right there. That is not a snake that you would want to take a hit by.
Mm-mm.
And they can get pretty good size.
Yeah, I'd say so. 72 inches?
Yeah. Let me see if we can throw this other one down. Let's see. We have another one. This one here, if we can get it to work with the storms, it makes it not want to load. Yeah, Dawn, I'd hate to be hit by one of them also. Them things, I don't like, they all freak me out. I'm not a real big fan of rattlesnakes at all. Any kind of snake, really.
And I learned that, I mean, out of the 22 snakes that we have here in the state, 2 of them are poisonous, and they're both protected. So even if you come across them, you're told to leave them alone, not kill them, nothing. They got to get rehomed. They're in your home.
I rehome them all right. This one right here, guys, is the western pygmy rattlesnake. We have those here on our property, in our field. We have killed quite a few of them in the summer. And sometimes we'll get one of these creeping across the front yard. The western pygmy rattlesnake is a subspecies of the pygmy rattlesnake that live in southeastern Oklahoma and central Oklahoma. This snake is usually found near water sources, avoiding deserts and dry regions. Like its name, this pygmy rattlesnake is a smaller snake measuring between 16 and 24 inches in length at the full grown. Because of their small size, the pygmy rattlesnake's rattle can be hard to hear. Some report that it often sounds more like a grasshopper or the buzzing of an insect. You may not realize a pygmy rattlesnake is nearby until you're about 2 to 3 feet from the snake, or you take a bite on the top of the foot while you're outside at night. The western pygmy rattlesnake have dark horizontal oval splotches along their back and the top of the base of the color, with smaller spots on each side of their body. Their heads are marked with black cheek stripes on either side, almost like the water moccasin, and their bellies are a cream-colored or gray. The western pygmy rattlesnake is a carnivore, and it mostly likes to eat snakes. It eats other snakes, amphibians, lizards, small mammals, birds, insects, and even giant desert centipedes. This snake is a hemotoxic venom that was the foundation of developing anti-drug clotting shots now that they give you in the hospital that thins your blood, and it is also given after stroke to stroke victims. Their venom is used as a blood thinner, and one of the main ones made from this is called Lubinox. The Lubinox shots that people take into the stomach is made from the venom of this snake. So
it's a good snake, but a bad snake in the wild.
Yep, it says if it's not mixed, it causes severe hemorrhaging when you're bit, kidney and liver failure, and you bleed from the orifices of your body. So, and we do have those across around here. Actually, the eastern rattlesnake is the largest here in Alabama. Ooh, Scott's got some of them. And let's see, the next one we're going to talk about is a similar snake. He does kind of look a lot like this one. He is what we would call the prairie rattlesnake. And we have those here also. We have a lot of those little fellers around here. And the prairie rattler is not going to, it's not going to load, but just pretty much you can look at that pygmy rattlesnake, guys, and your prairie rattler is going to look a lot like that. They share a lot of the same characteristics. The prairie rattlesnake also carries the same venom, except for the prairie rattler. If he bites you, you're going to get a hemotoxin and a neurotoxin bite, which that's going to be a really bad bite. That's the one that you don't want to get. Now, this snake here, this is the one that our cat ate on film that everybody got to witness. The western Massagoa rattlesnake. It's also called the buzztail due to its high-pitched sound it rattles when it makes them. That one right there is almost an exact replica of the one the cat ate the other night. Cats are strong. They're resilient. The western Massagoa rattlesnake lives in the western half of Oklahoma, northeast part of Oklahoma. This snake is generally nocturnal, sleeping through the day and hunting at night. Their bodies are gray, light brown, and are covered with darker brown spots along their back and sides. Younger Massagoa rattlesnakes have bolder colors that fade as they get older. There is also dark cheek stripes, just like the water moccasin has. Now, these things are known to carry hemotoxins that are considered a very strong hemotoxin bite, and people have been known to bleed to death from taking a bite from these. So you're going to get bit and you're going to start bleeding out of everywhere uncontrollably.
Oh, wow.
So not a good snake to take a hit by. We have a lot of those kind. And then, of course, everybody's going to know this one. I'm going to let everybody in chat name this snake. I think most everyone should know what this one is. I'm guessing they will anyways. One of the most famous ones that we see every year. The name's right there.
I wasn't going to say it.
Those are very, 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 very common. You'll see one of those almost every year. The bad thing about these little fellers is they love to hide in your children's toys outside. They will hide under the seats of them. They will hide in their toys and their sandbox. One of their favorite things to eat, believe it or not, is you all would call them cicadas. And, here we call them locusts. But that is their favorite thing to eat. And a lot of them are actually found on trees, guys. They love to climb the trees. And they will be at the base of the tree, usually, or around the bottom of the tree, or up on the limbs. They're in search of cicadas. Now, one of the good things about these, I guess you would consider it a good thing, is the copperhead is one of the least venomous snakes that you can be bit by in Oklahoma. If they bite you and you're not elderly or a young child, or you have an compromised immune system, most of the time you're just going to get really sick. It's not going to complicate much more than that. You'll have a lot of swelling, stuff like that. But if you're going to be bit by a venomous snake, that's the one you would want to be bit by if you had to be bit by a venomous snake. Not saying it's going to be pleasant, but they are the one that most people have the least complications with, and usually have a complete success rate of fully rehealing after the bite from these. But the bad thing about these things is they deliver more bites per year than any other snake. The reason they do it is they are very temperamental. They like to hide. They are very well camouflaged, and they will not move until you get within striking distance, and then they will strike you. They will not move. They will not try to avoid you. They will not warn you. They will just lie in wait. And they will bite you, it says, over and over. They will not just bite you once and run. It says they will guard their area, and they will strike more than once. So if a kid is outside and you're not paying attention, the child could take more than one bite from them. So you would want to pay attention. The copperhead, of course, it releases a hematoxin. There's
I
the
heard
thunder.
that.
It will release a hemotoxic venom into the prey. So that one there is one that whenever I'm out into the woods, honestly, that's what I'm more on the lookout for. Low-lying branches that's just off the ground. You're going to find them there. You're going to find them at the base of trees. You're going to find them under rubble, rubbish, rocks, logs, rotten logs, stuff like that. I do have a buddy that took a bite from one of these. He was hospitalized for probably about a week. He was very sick. His leg was swollen. It turned black. I mean, it wasn't nice, but he did get over it. He was turkey hunting and forgot to wear his snake bite proof boots. Stepped over a log, made the mistake, and then took a hit on the back of the leg. By the time he got to his truck, he said he was parked about 100 yards from his truck. Said he was sweating profusely. He was vomiting, sick, dizzy, and his heart, he said, felt like it was about to beat out of his chest. So, not a good snake. And this is one of the weaker snakes. So, imagine taking a hit from one of the larger snakes.
Nope, that's okay.
And how many people know what this one is? That right there is the most common pose he will give you. I've seen that pose many, many times. We have a huge abundance of these where I live. They are everywhere. Tyler says, yep, you're right, Don. Cottonmouth. Those things are everywhere down here. I mean, where I walk, they're everywhere. And they will ambush you from the water or anywhere. They are, also known as the water moccasin, the cottonmouth water moccasin. Says the adults are black-bodied with minimal markings. Inside of the mouth is cotton white, giving them the name cottonmouth. These snakes have pupils that are cat-like. They love to hunt at night. They will chase their victims at times and bite them. They will run you down to bite you. They're very protective. They love a good fight. And they have a very, very toxic hemotoxic bite that is very potent, that is known sometimes to cause deaths. So those are just a few of the snakes really that you have to deal with when you're out, camping or taking the kids out to the woods, or you're out doing a fishing trip or anything like that. We need to know and be cautious of these things and know that they're out there.
Did you see what Don said?
I won't say Donnie Miller does to once he finds, but they can still bite. Yeah, that is true, Don. You can take it right off and their head will still function for hours afterwards, and they will still bite you, and they still can envenomate you. All venomous snakes, they say, can do that. It doesn't matter. You should bury the head is what they recommend, the game warden. You should always bury the head, because you can throw it. I forget how many hours it is. It remains still venomous and will still bite you, even with it being removed. And a lot of people say they throw them in the fire, and they'll burn them. But the most, the recommended is to burn, or not to burn, is to bury it. You're supposed to bury it. But can you imagine? And I wondered this, and I was asking, T. Carp what he thought about it. What if you was in your tent at night and you rolled over and there was one crawling alongside of your tent? He feels your movement. He would strike through that tent and nail you, because their fangs, they have really large fangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Dawn. It's very important how we dispose of it, because we could also be putting somebody else at risk. We cut it off and we leave, and you don't put it up. Somebody else shows up with their kids to fish or swim. They take their shoes off and they run out into the water and they step on it or whatever. And man, that just makes my foot hurt so bad to even think about it. Just stepping down on that with those fangs.
Worse than Legos, huh?
Oh man. I see something. Yeah, that's right, Scott. They will. They will come right at you. And they love hunting at night. That's their favorite time, is to hunt during the nighttime. I've actually went out fishing and had a fish basket in the water and have a storm roll in or the waves roll in, and then walk over and pick the fish basket up. And I've had like 2 or 3 of those in my basket because they're trying to eat my fish, and you got to get them out of your basket. They will come up to your campfire. They will come into your camp. I've had a lot of people tell me, if you build a fire, they won't bother you. That's not true in Oklahoma. I don't know about other places, but you can build a fire down here and they'll come to you. They don't really care if you have a fire or not. It really doesn't bother them.
How do you get them out of your fish basket without them coming back at you?
Just dump them. That's usually what we do. We just dump them out.
And they don't come back after you?
Sometimes. Yeah, they'll start striking at you and they'll be a little teed off. Yeah. But yeah, we just dump them out. Just make sure they don't get you on the hand when you dump them, because they will strike the cage at you and stuff as you're trying to get them out. They're not very happy.
No.
And and Sarah, she got bit by a water snake down there one year, and she still talks about that. It scared her to death. She got bit. She did get sick. It was a non-venomous snake, but it did make her sick when it bit her. It made her upset, an upset stomach and stuff, because they do still carry a bacteria. And she got sick after she got bit. There's Amanda. Amanda, I was trying to get a hold of you to see if you wanted to join us tonight and talk about these lovely creatures that are out in the woods that love to spend time with our favorite cryptids. I wonder if cryptids even take bites sometimes by these things. And hey, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, good to see you. I'm sure that is something they have to watch out for, because it ain't like there's just a few of those down here. We have a lot of snakes here. I mean, every year, you're going to see them. There's a big clap of thunder. And you just have to, like at nighttime, you go outside. You should not go outside barefooted. I'm bad for doing it. I'm one of the ones that will do it. But you should not go outside barefooted or wearing, your Crocs and stuff like that. Hey, Amanda, you have the link. I sent it to you in your messenger. If you want to come on, all you got to do is click it and it'll put you backstage. And, I'm bad about doing it. I do it. I go out on the porch sometimes, barefooted to take photographs at night or something. And copperheads love to lay on your porch. A lot of people find them on the porches and in dog houses. They love dog houses. For some reason, they will crawl up in a dog house. And they say one of the worst times, too, is right before a storm, kind of like your cryptids. They're most active and will be hunting right before a storm. So your snakes are going to be out as well. So it can also be dangerous whenever you're out. I'm lucky. I have never been bit by a venomous snake. I have been bit by like a 7 or 8 foot black snake. It was hiding underneath our steps one day. I was walking down the steps and it reached out and grabbed me by the foot. And just because they're not venomous, you will bleed. I bled top and bottom jaws. They put holes all in me. You do bleed. And it's scary at first because you don't know if it was fangs making you bleed or if it was, actual teeth, until you can identify the snake. Now, they will tell you whenever you get bit by a snake, do not try to capture it. Do not get close to it. If you can, take a photograph of it with your cell phone And if you're good at identifying snakes, try to identify it so that the hospital or the ER will know what kind of snake bit you. Uh, you know, sometimes if you don't know, some snakes require a different kind of antivenom. So that's just going to prolong you getting antivenom if you get bit and you don't know what it was, because then they got to take your blood, and they have to take your blood and send it to the lab, and they got to find out what kind of venom is running through you before they're able to treat it. So here where I'm at, that could be bad. That could be over 2 hours before you get your first dose of antivenom. So the whole time they're only treating your symptoms at that point, which means your organs could be paying for it, your kidneys, your liver, your eyes. They say a lot of people, some people go blind. Back in the old days, people would get bit by rattlesnakes. And when they would get bit, they would go blind because they did not have anti-venom back then. And they had a lot of amputations back then from rattlesnake bites. A lot of people would lose their limbs. A lot of people would die. Just like the movie True Grit, you know, the little girl gets knocked down in the cave, and the cave is full of rattlesnakes, and the rattlesnake bites her. And John Wayne, depending on which one you watch, I can't remember who done the other one. I can never think of his name, the remake. But they throw the little girl on her horse. Her horse's name was Blackie, and he beats that horse all the way to town to try to save the little girl's life. And she does end up, getting an amputation because that was very, very common back then. But also, snakes are, a food source for some people. A lot of people, especially here in Oklahoma, they have a rattlesnake roundup in southern Oklahoma. These guys go out and they catch tons of rattlesnakes, and they have a big rattlesnake cook. They cook them up and they all eat them, which I'm fine with it. The more of them they catch and eat, the better for me. I do not care for them. But they catch some pretty big ones down there. They have a big roundup, and you wouldn't believe how many snakes are caught in like 1 or 2 days. I mean, they fill a whole pen. I mean, they have a whole pen full of them. And them guys will go in there and walk with them and hold them and carry them and show them to you and everything. A lot of guys get bit. There's been a lot of guys bit down there, and people have lost their fingers and their hands, and I mean, they're no joke. Yeah, Don, that is a very good thing too. Is your heart going into arrhythmia? Another one of the dangers of taking a bite by a snake, and again, we're not going to go into first aid, but one of the newer first aid things that they are telling people to do now, if you're bit by a rattlesnake, is to take Benadryl. A lot of people have died from not the venom itself, but from the anaphylaxis from the bite. A lot of people will get anaphylaxis from a snake bite, same as you will from a bee sting. And one of the recommendations is if somebody is bit by a snake, according to their weight, you give them the max amount of Benadryl that they can take, preferably liquid. So if you do have a survivor pack that you're carrying with you in the woods, don't carry the pills. You want to carry the liquid. The liquid is absorbed into the body faster, because a snake bite, depending on the snake, but the thumb rule, what we was taught was within about 20 minutes, if you're going to have anaphylaxis or a severe reaction, it's going to happen within that 20 minutes. And if you take a Benadryl, a tablet, it takes that tablet 20 to 30 minutes to get into your system. So the goal is to take the liquid to get it into your system to head off any complications of anaphylaxis. So the liquid is the better to carry. And you should always know or carry with you a dosing chart for your weight, not necessarily your age. Age is placed on there as a precautionary method for people. Usually your age dosage will be lower really than what you should be dosed at, but you should also know how to do your dosage. And again, guys, this is entertainment purposes only. I am not a medical provider. I'm just giving you information for you to go study. You go look it up. This is for you guys to go look up. I'm just telling you what I do. I'm not telling you what I do is right. I'm just telling you what I have studied and what I do. But definitely I think that's a very important thing. Another thing you want to carry in your survival pack is a ACE bandage. And you need to go look up on the website. It will tell you how to do it. If you're bitten by a snake, it explains to you how to wrap the ACE bandage. And you also want to carry a permanent black marker with you so that you can mark where the bite's at. And you're going to want to keep track of how much the swelling and the redness spreads during the time from the bite until you get to the EMTs or whatever. They will do the same thing as well as the doctors in the hospital to track the tissue damage and everything. It's very important that they know how fast it's spreading and how your body's reacting to it. So that's really, really important. And, you know, about 20 to 30% of rattlesnake bites are a dry bite. Rattlesnakes do not prefer to bite you because they know that they can't eat you. So it takes snakes, a period of time to build their venom back up. After they use their venom, they expel their venom, they have to build that back up. And they don't want to use their venom on something that's not big enough for them to eat because that just costs them a meal. So a lot of times a rattlesnake, or even, a copperheads have been known to do it, but mostly rattlesnakes, they will do what they call a dry bite. They will bite you with their fangs to try to use those as a weapon without injecting venom 20 to 30% of the time. But don't ever count on a dry bite. Always count a bite as it was a venomous strike. It's always better, to prepare for the worst and hope for the best,
Right.
because you get bit and you think it was a dry bite. Now I know a guy. My mom knew him better than I did. He lived down the road from us, and nobody knows why. For some reason, if you raise bees and honey, copperheads are attracted to bee houses. They love them. If you have bees, you're going to have copperheads. I don't know if it's to eat the bees or what it is, but they will always most normally be around those. Every year, he would get bit. He was an older man, too, believed in the old ways, and they would bite him on the ankle. And all he would do was take his bandana, stick it in some coal oil, wrap it around his ankle, and that was it. And he was fine every time. Uh, he would get bit every year. Every year he would get bit. Um, I don't know if any of y'all ever watched Swamp People, but there's a guy on there named Shelby Stanga. Whenever he was little, he lived in a tree. His parents, I don't think, had much to do with him. He lived in the swamp of Louisiana, and I guarantee him Sharon Guy is going to know him. And he lived in the trees of Louisiana. He's a crazy old dude, and for some reason, he has an immunity to water moccasins. He goes out, picks them up. They bite him on the arms. They'll bite him on the chest, everywhere. And he'll just take them and pop them, cut their head off, tie their skin around his head during the day while he's cutting wood in the swamp, and let them form to him so he can make a band out of it. Uh, I've seen him bite their heads off, and they will bite through his lips. They will bite him in the mouth. And he said the worst thing that happens to him is he gets a little bit of diarrhea. But other than that, they don't phase him. For some reason, he has a high immune system to snake bites. And he
Wow.
said, but he says he was bit all of his life from a little boy growing up. So there was something in his blood that keeps him. Yeah, I'm sorry, Belinda. You're right. It is kerosene. That's what a lot of the older people call it. My grandpa called it coal oil also. But
Now, I know there was a guy I was watching that was actually working on building up his immune system to all different sorts of snakes. I can't even tell you what channel I was watching, but I
right,
mean, he was being bit by, I mean, some of the most deadly venomous snakes in the world.
Dawn, I am not sure. I couldn't say. I believe My understanding was when I was working, the antivenoms are at the hospitals in your larger cities, and if they don't have the antivenom, they get it from the local zoos. And sometimes, because the doctors are not dealing with a lot of snake bites, the person at the zoo will actually bring the antivenom, and they will be the ones to administer it. Will be the actual person from the zoo that works with the venomous reptiles and stuff, because they're more accustomed to how to deal with it. So, our zoos are important to us not only for the study of animals, but they also zoos do a lot of snake milking and things that allows us to get the antivenom that we need for the snake bites we get. And they educate us on the snakes and stuff also. And then, of course, they keep a lot of antivenom there, which has saved a lot of lives.
And I guess antivenom can't sit for very long either, can it?
I don't know. I'm not sure how they store it. I know antivenom is very, very expensive. A little bitty vial of it is thousands of dollars. It's nothing for a person to take hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of antivenom just for a regular bite. So it's also going to it may cost you an actual arm and a leg.
Better off just getting the boots.
Oh yeah, and some people are allergic to bee stings. My cousin, he has to carry a kit with him because he's allergic to bee stings. Um, for some reason, you know, I do too. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. I love honeybees. I will not kill one. I love those little things. We got to have them. If there's no honeybees, there's no us.
Mm-hmm.
But he carries a kit with him, epinephrine. Uh, it just, I've been stung, I think, by just about every kind of bee there is. And that really doesn't mean anything, because you can eat shrimp all your life, and then one day you can eat it and have anaphylaxis from it and die. You can be stung by bees all your life, and then one day you get stung and anaphylaxis. The good thing about anaphylaxis, though, is if you study it, and I had to take a course on it when I got my first responders class, because people could suffer anaphylaxis by a food allergy or something. And as part of our first responders, we was told to do that, is that anaphylaxis very, very rarely will result in death. That's the good thing about anaphylaxis. It's not always fatal. Actually, it's like 0.03% of people that have anaphylaxis die. And those are people with known food allergies. Very, very low percentile. But the bad thing is if you do have anaphylaxis, it's scary as hell. Because people think of anaphylaxis like when they watch the movies and, oh, I can't breathe, and they show the swollen lips and everything. Anaphylaxis is a lot more than just that. Anaphylaxis is a drop in the blood pressure. It's unconsciousness. It causes there's some big thunder there. It causes some, the vessels in your lungs to swell shut. And you may not die, but like the doctor told us that taught the class, you're going to feel like you're breathing through a coffee straw. You're going to panic because you're not going to be able to get air, and you need to get to the doctor. And a lot of times they will intubate you, but yeah, he said it's a very scary experience. Sweating, unconsciousness, hard to breathe. Very rarely will you die from it, but you may wish you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amanda. I carry two of them also. I'm allergic to something. They don't know what it is, but once a year, sometimes twice a year, I wake up with anaphylaxis, and they don't know what it is. It's something that blooms out probably around here around that time, because it's about the same time. But I could probably go to a allergy place and get tested for it and probably find out what it is. Oh, wow. Tennessee, Kentucky says he has a friend that took venom to build up immunity, was sick often from taking the shots. I guess eventually he got immune. Wow. Scott says my late dad was allergic to bee stings, but learned that he didn't have to take a shot. Took a couple of spoons of vinegar, didn't have any sting reaction. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
you know, go Google it. Like I said, don't take my word on all this. Go Google it and look at the mortality rate of anaphylaxis. It's actually really, really low. You would think it would be higher than that. Hey, OCST, good to see you. But it's actually a lot lower than what you would think that it is. I always thought growing up that anaphylaxis, was like this big, oh my God, I ate shrimp and he dies. His face falls right over in the shrimp scampi right in the diner, and that was it. But
Hmm.
it can happen, just very, 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 very low percentage that you're going to die from it. But really, who would want to go through that, right? I don't want to go through that. I don't want to not be able to get my breath. There's Tim Wrestler in the house. OCST, we're not doing a show tonight, brother. It's tomorrow. That's going to be, we have a guest on, Abnormal. And I'm going to tell you all a little bit about her that's coming on. My gosh. I almost made the mistake of talking to her too late the other night. Made it hard for me to sleep. She was raised in a funeral home, people, and they lived on the second floor of the funeral home. And let's just say demons came to visit, and you're not going to believe some of the things. It's not going to be for everybody. I honestly don't know how many people's going to be able to stay because it's deep and dark into the embalming and rebuilding and some of the things that they do see. And so if you don't want to know none of that, I would recommend you don't watch that show, because she also had the business and her family has the business. And I think she said that at one point they owned a lot of those funeral homes. I'm not going to say what state because she didn't want to say, for the respect of the families that they have buried, but
Hmm.
they had numerous funeral homes. So they dealt in it a lot. Amanda, that was a sad movie. Very sad movie. Oh, yeah, Sharon, you, I couldn't even believe it. Could not believe it, what she told me. And she wouldn't tell me all of it. She said, I don't want you to know. She said, I'm just gonna tell you all, and you can ask me questions.
Yeah, John.
Tim, what are you having for dinner? I ain't had my dinner yet either. But it should be a great show tomorrow night. And for all y'all in here that are abnormal fans, guess what? Tuesday, I'm going boots on the ground. I'm going to find somewhere. Even if I have to travel to Kansas, I guess we will find somewhere to go boots on the ground. So I got a lot of emails today, and everybody wants boots on the ground. What is up, guys? Why are y'all wanting boots on the ground? What is up with that? Everybody's picking on me. They're telling me to, yeah, Tim. Tim, tomorrow night is going to be the live with the guest. It's going to talk about growing up in the funeral home. And then Tuesday, I will go boots on the ground. Yep, boots in the water, something like that. But we are going to go. Yes, Lisa, I knew you'd be happy. You're one of the ones that was very disappointed in no boots on the ground. There will be a boots on the ground. Um, Lisa has wanted one. Sunshine has wanted one. I think Tim's been wanting one. I think Pam would like to have one. Yeah, a lot of people's told me that we need to get out there and do a boots on the ground. Oh, Tennessee, Kentucky. I sure like to do that. Hey, Tennessee, Kentucky. Have you had any encounters, brother? Have you had any encounters while you've been out? Oh, Belinda. I guess you'll have to watch me on your break. That's all I know. I'm sorry. It, but if I go out Tuesday, guys, I'm going to go out Friday. So y'all's going to get two in a week, because I told everybody we're going to kick off the July is going to be crazy. Now, I did have a lot of questions today. I guess I can answer those on Wide Open Adventures. A lot of you asked me, is there going to be a fireworks show this year like we always do for the 4th of July? Mom actually is not in here right now, so I cannot answer that. I don't know where she went. She took off. She might be hiding. I don't know, guys. As of right now, a lot of y'all asked me to do it live because a lot of y'all said you're unable to go enjoy the 4th of July, and by the time that I record it and drop it, it's not the 4th of July, and it's not the same. And I agree. I never did like it when people would have birthday parties on the weekends and not on the birthday. I'm one of those. I believe it should be done on that day. If I can shoot it live, we may do a live a little bit for y'all that's unable to go do that. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. Should be wet enough. We shouldn't catch anything on fire. That shouldn't be a problem. But I don't know what they have planned. I haven't talked to them. But I'm sure there will be a video because there'll be cooking and stuff too. I'm sure there will be food and all that fun stuff. So one of the questions I was going to ask the audience is, have any of you guys in the audience, have any of you ever been bitten by a venomous snake? That's what I want to know, because I have never been bit by a venomous snake. Amanda's is the 4th. Amanda likes to party it up and blow it up. Just think of all the candles you would have on your cake, Amanda. Just joking. You know what?
One big firework on it.
You know, Amanda, when you get our age, it's usually just the 2 candles, the 2 numbers. Tennessee, Kentucky says, yes, Kentucky, a 3-toed thing attacked us. South Tennessee, booger experiences, and one running up the creek one night. Most of the experiences I have seen a Bigfoot. Would you like to come on my show some night, man? You and your son, and I would love to hear about running up the creek and 3-toed one attacking you guys and stuff. The attack really has me interested. And I'd love to have you guys on if you'd like to come on and everything. I don't know how to get a hold of you. If you want, you could send me an email, abnormal investigations, plural, 77 at gmail.com. And we can work a day out, man, because I would love to hear about that. And I bet a lot of other people would too. I'm still young enough, Amanda, that I would just have to put, a 2 and a 9 on mine right now. I'm almost to break over to 30, and I don't know how I feel about turning 30. I'm really not looking forward to it. I think that that's going to be really tough. Awesome, Tennessee, Kentucky. Yeah, email me, man. I'd love to hear about those. But yeah, the big 3-0 is going to be a tough one on me, guys. Man, Dawn, I tell you what, talking about bee stings and stuff, I've been stung. I thought when I was younger, I'd been stung by, the red wasp, the dreaded red wasp. And actually, Amanda, I'm really not going to be 30. I might be a smidge older. The red wasp, it to me will attack you because I've had them run me down and sting me on the back and neck and like chase you. They hurt, they feel like a fire, but it wasn't nothing compared to that yellow jacket. That yellow jacket, I dripped blood. I mean, it looked like I was stabbed with a knife. I mean, my mom was like, why are you bleeding from your head? My shirt had blood on it. I was dripping blood. That thing grabbed me, and I mean, it felt like it bit plumb through my ear. Now, the bumblebee was worse whenever I got stung by the bumblebee. The bumblebee did make me sick. It flew up my long sleeve cowboy shirt I was wearing, and it stung me up here on the shoulder. It stung me in the bend of my arm, and then it stung me on the pinky before I could get it out of my shirt, and there was a whole nest of them attacking me. My arm did swell up where I couldn't hardly move my arm. I got really sick. My grandpa pulled out a Camel, took the tobacco out of it, put it in his handkerchief, dipped it in the coal oil, started slapping it on him, set me under the air conditioner, and probably about 30 minutes later, he removed the handkerchief and everything, and there was green stuff in the handkerchief that had pulled out of my skin. and the swelling was gone, and I was fine.
Wow.
Yep. Took care of it immediately. They knew, they knew how back then how to survive. They just knew.
Yeah.
But thank God he knew what to do, because I was really sick and that hurt really bad. That actually felt somebody was jabbing you with a dagger. It was pretty tough. It hurt
Like one
pretty
of those
bad.
big bumblebees, like those big fuzzy ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. He tore me up.
I guess I always took those as the more harmless ones.
You're probably talking about a wood bee. They look just like a bumblebee, and they bore holes in wood. They actually don't sting. But a
No,
bump,
bumblebee. Mm,
because
I
they
don't
look,
know.
they look identical almost. One will sting you, and the other one won't.
Hmm. Well, I'm not going to test that theory. I'm not going to go out there and try and get stung by one and see.
Oh, they hurt bad. But them wood bees, we hate them because they drill holes all in our wood out here. Yeah, stings on the head hurt really bad, Shirley. I found that out. My granny always used. Yep, it worked too, Sharon. It definitely worked. Oh, see there, Nanny Pam calls them boar bees. There we go. Chat started getting crazy on me. Yeah, and they look just like a bumblebee.
Hmm.
Ooh, Dawn took one on the lip. That had to hurt. Mm.
Oh, yeah.
When I was growing up, I'll tell y'all a funny story. Our neighbor in town, we lived in town for a while, and our neighbor used to raise honeybees, and he lived right next door to us. And I knew him. I knew everybody in town, and we had clover. It grew everywhere. So in the summer, we would be outside barefooted, and the next thing you know, you get stung. All summer long, we would get stung on our feet. And I would always tell him, I'd say, Jerry, I wish you'd get rid of those honeybees. Them things sure hurt my feet. And he'd say, well, you'll never have arthritis in your ankles, because he would sell the honey. And then for arthritis, he would go out there and allow them to sting him, because they say that when honeybees sting you, they actually reverse arthritis. So he used it as a home remedy to get his arthritis down.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to try that one either, but yeah, maybe. I mean, heck, there's so many natural remedies out there that, we don't know about. I just don't know if I'd want to get stung by bees on purpose.
Uh-oh. Is today Nanny Pam's birthday? Happy birthday, Pam.
Happy birthday, Nanny Pam.
Smurfy said she got a treble hook in her lip one time. Ouch.
See, I remember hearing this story because when we would go camping, my mother was adamant about making sure, like, if we had a can of soda, to make sure that it was covered so that we'd always have those little plastic flip tops to keep covered, because she
Right?
told us a story about a kid that had a can of soda open and was drinking it and actually swallowed a bee, and it stung him in his throat so many times that he died.
Michelle, attacked by bees so you won't have arthritis. Amanda, if you come to Oklahoma and do boots on the ground down here and it's not wintertime, you might want to ask your doctor if you can bring like a 12 pack. We have all kinds of bees down here. I mean, I got stung the other night when I was out boots on the ground. I had a bee sting me twice. He got me on the arm twice before I could get him killed. But we have a lot of bees down here. Oh, yeah, CRJ. It is hot outside. Don't overheat. Whatever you do, make sure you stay hydrated today. A friend of mine got sick the other day. He's still sick. He's having trouble even today. He overheated. So don't overheat whatever you do. Well, guys, that's about all I got for this show tonight. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night if that's a show that you think you can handle. And it should be a really, really, really good show. Amanda, they're mean down here. These Oklahoma bees, they look for trouble. They don't care if you bother them or not. They're out looking for a fight down here. They're like, you're in the woods. I'm going to sting you. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. If you enjoyed it, what we may do on the next one, if y'all want to, we could talk about venomous spiders and what kind of venom they carry and where they're located and what to do if you're bit by them and stuff. But if it's something y'all are interested in, is that something that would y'all would like to talk about? Yeah, Tyler, I've had 3 of them. I've had 3 heat strokes. One of them, I passed out in a boat in the lake. That was my last one. That's right, Amanda. They are gangster down here. Our bees down here are G's, man. They're G's. They'll be throwing those yellow and red colors and stuff down here. You don't go messing around their turf. They got some turf wars going on. But if y'all want to talk about spiders, does anybody want to talk about spiders on the next one? Or would you rather let's talk about some fishing, then the best catfish bait, and where to catch catfish? Whatever y'all want to talk about, just let me know. We'll talk about it. We're going to try to do a lot more lives on this channel, guys. Amanda says she wants to talk about yes on something. Michelle says spiders. Spiders, says Dawn. All right. Tennessee, Kentucky. Awesome. We will get that worked out for July and get you on the show. We appreciate you always coming in. You're one of my oldest subscribers. I was telling Jesse the other night that you were one of my first and have always been around. So I'd love to have you all on the show. Thank you, Nanny Pam, for that. That means a lot to me. And of course, I can't wait till Hunter comes home and takes over. That way he can take the control seat right here and I can just be the guest and hang out with him because he will let me know for sure how it is. That's all I got, Jesse. If you got anything you want to say before we head out, that's all I've got.
Nope, just everybody stay hydrated, stay cool, check on your neighbors. God bless.
Thank you, CRJ. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up. I want to thank the support that y'all have shown for Hunter and supporting his channel here. If you would really like to help our channel, guys, we're trying to push it over the edge on watch hours. If you're not doing nothing today, just go let our videos play. Go watch a bunch of our old videos. We're trying to reach 3,000 hours for Hunter. So if you don't mind and want to help out, just go let them play. If you're not doing anything, just let them go. We would appreciate that so much. We're trying to hit that 3,000. We got a short time to do it in. So go watch them, comment in them, or just let them run. And that would help us out so much, guys. It really, really would. And again, thank you everyone for showing up. And we have more king snakes. Oh, king snakes are good snakes. I like those. They eat the venomous snakes. And, your all's support has been phenomenal. You guys are really rock. And guys, until next time, be blessed. Spend time with your family. Make memories. That is the most important thing. And remember, instead of playing a game all day and just staying in the house, not enjoying what God made, get out off your butt, get out in nature, and level up in real life. We'll see you on the next one, guys. God bless.